Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, one and all. Wherever you may be listening to us, you have your ears tuned in to the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. This is episode 18. We still don't have a title for this one. Joining me, as always, is the muscle of the podcast, future MMA fighter and voice of the Philippines. He is the one, the only, the Jaime.
What's up, wrestling fans? Another week of awesomeness here on the podcast.
And joining us from the left coast, you know him as the Unfunny Comedian on Twitter. He is a gay porn reviewer and connoisseur, and is currently listening to enough ICP to put down a small army. He is Alex.
I feel like I'm slowly losing brain cells as I devolve into juggaloism.
We'll talk about your juggaloism, or your conversion to the juggalo arts, here after a bit. And joining us live from a Baltimore area medical facility is my arch nemesis and my best friend. He is the real Danny D, Dan Dorrit. How you doing, Dan?
What's up, everyone? Let's get it going.
As you can tell, we're all tired. It's been an exhausting week if you're a wrestling fan. Raw started very strong and then kind of petered out like a firework that only had half a fuse. SmackDown was great all over, and then Impact was Impact. There was a lot of times, and I'm the biggest Impact fan probably on this website, where I was left thinking, what the hell did I just see? But let's start at the beginning of the week, and at the beginning of the week came Monday Night Raw. Jaime, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. What was the one big thing that you took away from the show?
The Hardy Boys versus the Club. I think that's the brightest side, aside from the Seth Rollins-Sheamus match.
Okay. Now, do you have a problem with the fact that the Raw Tag Team Champions are not in the two biggest tag team feuds on that show?
Yeah, I have a problem with that because, you see, the Revival or Long Ju or title shots, now they have returned, they have imposed their persona, they have proven it, so why not give them the shot, turn them face. They're over anyway.
Alex, what was the one thing that you took away from Monday Night Raw?
Enzo's finisher went from being Big Cass to Big Show.
Yeah, that is kind of... is it an upgrade? He got older, but he got a little bit bigger. He went from maybe I don't know, I can't even make a good analogy. I am that tired. Sorry, folks. Did he improve?
No, because his next finisher is going to be taking pinfalls.
Well, is there anybody bigger than the Big Show? Will we see Giant Gonzalez come back to team with Enzo?
No, Great Khali will make a third return.
Oh, hey, you know what? That's why we have you on this show. Dan, how about you? Raw, what was the thing that made you a wrestling fan this week?
The fact that we're going to get Dean and Rollins to the tag titles at SummerSlam.
Now, I wrote about this when I did the recap on Monday. It is entirely possible, the Raw after SummerSlam, that we will see Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns all standing in the ring with WWE Gold. Am I the only one that wants to see this?
No, not at all, and I think the WWE needs to do it because I think that's the only way Roman gets over again.
Now, will we actually hear the phonetic spelling of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, after all the pyro and everything else, Michael Cole introduces us to Monday Night Raw, and then bam! Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta. And then all three of them come out as champions?
I think it's pretty obvious they've been keeping Roman away from Dean and Rollins for a very good reason. They clearly want Roman to be solo at least until after the next Mania.
But this makes so much sense to unite them now.
We're talking about WWE.
See, when people say that, it bothers me on a deeply personal level. The WWE has gotten where it has been through the decisions it has made. It didn't self-destruct the way WCW did. It didn't go full-on extreme like ECW did. It didn't try to muscle out its competition much the way the NWA did and died from within.
Have you been drinking too much of Vince's Kool-Aid?
I'm just saying.
That's exactly what they did.
They didn't die from within, though. They haven't died yet from within.
No, because Vince runs a tight enough ship.
The guy knows what he's doing. He's been in charge of wrestling for 50 years.
That doesn't make him a good television writer.
And you could do better. You could go to Stamford, Connecticut. You could go to Stamford, Connecticut right now and with a clipboard and write up 3 months worth of television better than what Vince McMahon can. Better than the 50 years of experience that Vince McMahon has. You could do better. You could do better doing Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live. You could do all of that and do it better than him. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't do all of that. I would cut like half of those shows out.
Then you're a fool. Those shows make money.
NXT objectively does not make money.
Are you kidding?
No, it's on the network, and that means it does not make any money in and of itself. Maybe you can make an argument from the touring, but
I still
people
think...
subscribe to the network just for NXT.
Yeah.
You can get it on Hulu.
That's fine, but people will still subscribe to the network just for that.
Not to mention...
I didn't know you could get it on Hulu.
Yeah, it's a program with Tostinos, and you buy pizza rolls, and you get 45 free days, and WWE put stuff on there so they could get in on it. It's a train wreck. But, no, not to mention, look at all the merchandise that NXT sells. That's got to count for something. They still get gates from their tapings at Full Sail University. That's got to count for something. Not to mention all the buzz and all the hype that everything else gets from NXT. NXT makes money, whether we want to believe it or not.
Yeah, but it doesn't make money as a television show. It makes money as a touring brand.
Very few things make money as television shows there, bud.
I would argue that's not true. I would argue there's plenty of television shows that make money right now.
Okay, I'm watching the Steve Wilkos show. Do you think it makes money?
God, no. But that's a very niche show, and it's very cheap to produce on top of that.
Hold on. You said it's a very niche show, right? You do realize what professional wrestling is. The biggest niche out of any of them on television. That's like saying anime is a niche. It's true, but that's a very large niche. Yeah,
which makes it in and of itself not a niche.
It's not mainstream. We'll call it that. Right?
I would argue with the right writing, it would be mainstream.
Let me hear it.
But hear what?
How do you make wrestling mainstream? It'll never be mainstream because it is what it is.
You would make it mainstream by not treating the audience like they're idiots.
But the audience is idiots. You have to appeal to the lowest common denominator, so you have a mass blanket to get everything.
Shows like Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad have proven that you get a lot of viewers, probably more viewers than anything else, by not appealing to the lowest common denominator.
And those shows are also only on about 6 times in 6 months.
Okay.
They're not on 104 times a year.
You're saying that like it's a bad thing. Raw should only have like a limited season.
No.
So the guys can have an off season, so they don't get injured as quickly and easily.
No, because it's the natural cycle of things. Injuries are as much of a vital part of professional wrestling as they are in any other sport, because injuries open up opportunity.
But wrestling isn't a sport.
There are better athletes in wrestling than in a lot of sports. You can't tell me that Phil Kessel of the Pittsburgh Penguins, with the gut that he has, can sit out there and wrestle for 45 minutes to an hour with the likes of Shawn Michaels. You can't tell me I can take a center from the Baltimore Ravens.
That wrestling has a necessity for great endurance, for great athleticism. That still doesn't make it a sport.
They're athletes, are they not?
No, I would argue they are not. They're athletic, but they are not athletes.
How are they not athletes?
They're actors. They are very athletic actors.
Jaime, what are your thoughts? Professional wrestling, is it a sport?
I don't agree that they're not athletes. They're athletes. They have athletic backgrounds. Some may not, but they're athletes to begin with. That's why they chose professional wrestling over their whatever sport they used to play. Because it's a sport.
And some of them, weren't good enough to continue playing that sport, Corbin. But I digress. Dan, professional wrestling, is it a sport? Are they athletes?
Yes, it's a sport. Yes, they are athletes.
Okay, so...
Now, speaking of injuries, Bailey, there's a possibility she's out 3 to 6 months with a shoulder injury.
So does that mean I don't have to hear about the wavy, inflatable, arm-flailing Bailey buddies?
Waving, inflatable, arm-flailing tube men.
Yeah, I don't... That is the dumbest... They need to do something with... I know she sells a bunch of merchandise, and I know she's got John Cena-esque overness with children. But God, is that freaking annoying.
But what does this mean for SummerSlam?
Probably absolutely nothing. I doubt she was even on the card to begin with.
Yeah, she wasn't...
She was facing Alexa Bliss for the title.
Was she? Were they doing that again?
Yeah. But here's how the WWE does it. Okay? Bayley, they bring her out on Monday Night Raw. She says, hey, I'm hurt. I can't compete at SummerSlam, but I'm going to name my successor. It's going to be my best friend. And they put Sasha in there. And that's going to be a great match. And then, hell, let Sasha even win the title. And then when Bayley comes back, then you have those two go against each other. One of them turn on the other. Sasha's probably going to turn on Bayley. We finally see that turned, and everything unveils as it should. That's smart, right?
Yeah, but I feel like they wanted to do the Sasha turn sooner.
But injuries dictate everything. I mean, without injuries, John Cena would still be a one-time champion, and he would have held the belt for the last 15 years. Injuries have a way of changing things.
Yeah, no, I know.
So, alright, let's talk about what else...
I feel like maybe you could substitute Mickie James for Sasha Banks in there.
Why Mickie James, though? Does anybody really, she's got a certain milfy appeal to her, but does anybody really want to see her wrestle anymore?
That's not sexist at all.
I just like to see her on TV.
She's an attractive older woman. How is that being sexist? I'm just saying she's an attractive older woman.
Maybe because you were just going on about how it's a sport, and now you're judging them entirely based on, TNA. Let's just say that.
Okay, do we not do that with every other athlete? If Michael Phelps goes to the Olympics and he has a little bit of a chub, it's all over ESPN. Eddie Lacy lost his starting job in football because he was 20 pounds overweight with the Green Bay Packers. Looks are everything in sports as it is in wrestling.
If you say so.
I mean, if a guy walks up to you and is missing, the middle 6 of his teeth, what do you assume he does? He's a hockey player, right? Or a meth head. Or in some cases, both. Rural Canada's kind of weird. I'm just saying, looks are everything. The first thing people notice about you, even before you open your mouth, people see what they look like. And since we're on the topic of looks, we're going to do something a little bit fun. I'm going to post a picture of myself, and I want you, the listeners, to roast me in the comments on the Real Sport webpage. The best roasts will get read on the air next week. Try to keep it PG-13, but nothing is off limits. So, there's that shameless plug. Now, let's move on. Jaime, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, Akira Tozawa, Tony Nese, Ariya Daivari, and TJP. I was upset with this match because I didn't get to hear TJP's entrance music. It was a pretty decent match overall. Tozawa's going after Neville, correct?
Yeah, he is.
Did this further things more? Didn't Neville come out after the match? I mean, where is the Cruiserweight Championship right now with Tozawa and Neville?
Yeah, I think Neville's going to drop the titles at SummerSlam because he has to drop it at some point, and there's got to be an underdog story. There aren't any underdogs in 205 Live anymore, so they went with maybe the significantly smallest man, or who they considered minority. So yeah, and Akira Tozawa can work. So I think he has good chemistry with Neville, in my opinion. So
okay, well,
it'll be an interesting match.
I could easily argue that compared to Neville, everybody in 205 Live is an underdog. I mean, he's had the title for, it seems like, since it came out. Since didn't he beat Rich Swann for it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we called him losing it at WrestleMania. We called him losing it at just about every Raw brand pay-per-view we've had. I don't think he's losing it here. Another question, will this match be on the pre-show?
Almost certainly.
It's not advertised as being on the pre-show, but I hope not. Got to give the Cruiserweight some exposure.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Alex. Elias Sampson. He's just now Elias. Is he the best musical act that's ever been in wrestling?
Excuse me. Are you forgetting someone? Are you forgetting JEFFJARRETT?
That's why I asked.
No, he is nothing compared to Jeff Jarrett and his weekly chair shot or guitar shot bumps.
Okay, so you got Jeff Jarrett ahead of him. What about the Honky Tonk Man? Is he ahead of Elias?
In overness, maybe.
The Rock had 3 Rock concerts. Is he ahead of Elias?
Alright, that's not a musical gimmick.
John Cena. It was a musical gimmick. Yes or no?
I'd say in terms of getting actual legit heat, yes.
Really? Okay. And the last one, Road Dogg. The Roadie. Is he more over than the Roadie?
You know what? I'm just going to say yes because I don't even know what you're talking about.
Road Dogg. Jesse James. From D-Generation X. Billy Gunn's tag team partner.
Was that a musical gimmick? I don't...
He started off as the Roadie for Double J, Jeff Jarrett. When him and Jarrett split, he basically infringed on Jarrett's gimmick and did the exact same stuff. And then he got dreadlocks, shaved his head, and became the Road Dogg, and then the Road Dogg Jesse James, and Badass Billy Gunn, DX, the Outlaws, whatever. That's how it happened. Dan, we haven't heard from you. You there, buddy?
I'm here. I'm just taking it all in.
Talk to me about what should have been the main event. Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman. Was it as good as what people say it was?
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay, Roman won that match. Does he win at SummerSlam? Dan? Hello? Well, we are experiencing some technical difficulties right now, so we ask you please to stand by and bear with us as Dan is currently trying to get a hold of somebody in his hospital room. So the question goes to you, Jaime. Who wins at SummerSlam?
It's definitely not going to be Braun Strowman. There are rumors that Brock is leaving, so he might be dropping the title. So it's a toss-up between Roman Reigns or Samoa Joe. Depends on how the next few Monday Night Raws would play out.
Okay. All right. Alex, do you agree? Disagree? What's up?
Brock is definitely dropping the title. He's going off to do the UFC thing. and then he'll come back at the Rumble for Mania. I hope Samoa Joe wins, but realistically, probably either Braun or Roman.
Okay, now, I saw a tweet by Randy Orton. Get the new Brock Lesnar shirt, eat, sleep, threaten to leave the WWE for more money, and repeat. How right is that? That's good stuff, right? I'd buy that shirt. Would you guys buy that shirt?
Sure, for $20.
Seems a little steep. Anyway, let's
That's
move.
cheaper than what WWE actually charges for their shirts. So.
Not true. I got a long sleeve, olive drab green RKO Randy Orton long sleeve T-shirt, 3X because I like them a little big, just like I like my women. Beside the point, $7.99. Just saying, and with free shipping. Check it out. Okay, so SmackDown was clearly the best show of the week, right? We're all in agreement on that?
I mean, the G1 climax is still going on, so...
We're not talking about that right now, Alex. We're not. We're just going to let that go. Was anybody else upset with how the AJ Styles Kevin Owens thing finished? I mean, I understood, I got why it did it that way, but I was a little upset that was the ending. Jaime, did you feel the same way?
I didn't mind the ending because I was after the action for that match. It was actually my favorite moment of the week. Had I not watched NXT and heard Johnny Gargano's new theme again.
We'll talk about that here in a minute. Alex, how did you feel about it? I mean, they couldn't have made it any more obvious that Mike Chioda's over the hill, right?
Yeah. I guess it makes sense.
All right, when Dan gets back with us, I have a question to ask him about bad calls. Now, the Fashion Files. Had either of you guys, do you guys know what Twin Peaks was? No?
Came out of nowhere.
It didn't come out of nowhere. It was a terrible TV show that way too many people watched for way too long. It was superb. The Fashion Files were probably the best. Calling Sting... Did anybody notice that Tony Chimmel was called the Blob?
Yeah.
Sting was
after that.
Sting was the Eraserhead. And then, who else saw the Velvet McIntyre reference? Anybody? How about that? Are we awake? Alex, are you there? Or are you just ignoring?
I'm here. I think I saw what you're talking about.
Alright, well, go back and rewatch it. You'll understand if you ever seen an episode of Twin Peaks. Now, Rusev. He's clearly insane. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, okay. John Cena clearly beat him in the flag match, except nobody beats Rusev, so it didn't happen. Because it didn't happen. And then, I mean, I don't understand what he's so angry about. He gets to go home to Lana every night. Like, he gets that every night. What? Why are you angry? Like,
to be fair, that doesn't mean he has to go home and listen to Lana talk about how great of a wrestler she is.
That's what earplugs are for, okay? I'm sorry. I mean, Rusev's... He's not bad looking, but he shouldn't have gotten Lana. Not the way he looks.
Hold on. Are you trying to say Rusev is not a handsome grizzly bear of a man?
I'm saying he outkicked his coverage on that one, okay? He outkicked his coverage. He
I don't know. I mean,
he
looks like he would be fun to snuggle up to.
Some chicks go for personality.
But I don't think Rusev has one.
Oh well, if you watch the kayfabe breaking Total Divas, you would see how nice of a guy Rusev is compared to Lana's BITCHY mode.
Uh-huh.
I apologize about that, guys.
No, it's all right, Dan. Did you just happen to hear what Jaime just did? He spelled in the English language. Something that is a rare feat, going on in today's day and age. People can't spell. Thank you, Jaime. You're keeping the dream alive. Dan.
I didn't know Jaime could spell period.
Anybody can spell period. It's only 6 letters.
No, I didn't know he could spell. I just thought he, spoke.
Oh, that was a joke, Dan. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a bad one.
Yeah, well, so is your life. Anyway.
I can't disagree with that right now.
Bad calls. You saw the bad call that happened in the AJ Kevin Owens match, right? Mike Chioda, the shoulder was 3 feet off the ground, and he still called Kevin Owens down. Which is a worse call?
Got hit in the eye.
Which is a worse call? That one, or you know who Don Dinkinger is, right? No?
No.
Okay. Don Dinkinger cost the Cardinals the 1985 World Series when he called the guy safe when he was out. Kind of similar to the perfect game thing that Tigers pitcher. Yeah, it's the same thing. Except Dinkinger wound up getting death threats, pretty much had his career ended. It was terrible. So since you don't know about that, that kind of blows the whole question and means your baseball credentials are lessened now more than ever. Anyway, we got some more title matches coming up for SummerSlam, and they were revealed on SmackDown. We're going to see AJ and Kevin Owens take on each other with Shane as the referee. Looks like Orton and Rusev are on a collision course. Nakamura is going to face Jinder for the WWE Championship. We already have the Fatal 4-Way. We already have the women's title. And on both shows. So my question is, which match are you most excited to see? Dan, let's go to you first.
I'm really going to be excited for the Raw tag titles because I really think it's going to be Rollins and Ambrose. But there's a title match that I don't think we're going to see at SummerSlam.
What's that?
The IC title.
Elaborate.
I don't think there's going to be an IC title match on that card, period. They're already at 12 matches, I believe. And I don't think there's going to be room for that.
So you think they're going to leave out the third most important championship in the WWE with one of the best talking and working heels in the WWE on the second biggest show? They're going to leave him off the card?
Yep. I don't think the belt's going to be on there.
Huh. Interesting. Anybody else agree with Dan?
Well, it's
For a moment there,
Go on, one of you. Alex, go.
Go ahead, Jaime.
Okay.
I think it's pretty early because we still have how many weeks until SummerSlam, and they're trying to build up a Jason Jordan to Miz feud.
That's another reason why I don't think it's going to be on there. I don't think we get that till No Mercy. Does anybody notice that No Mercy went to...
Hold on, did
Raw?
anybody just notice that Dan just spoke French for a little bit? No mercy?
Well, yeah, that was why I did that, because if you guys remember from the No Mercy promos all last year, it was Maurice, and she was doing it. No Mercy. So, and now No Mercy's a Raw pay-per-view, and Maurice and Miz and Maurice are on Raw now. I just think which I love it. I love that they have her doing that.
Yeah. It could be a thing for The Miz. No thank you. Jason Jordan comes out and says, hey, when are you going to give me a title shot? No mercy. And then, he comes out speaking a little French, and then Kurt Angle comes out and goes, hey, I just heard that. We're going to make it at No Mercy. He just agreed to it. No, I said no thank you, you uneducated blah, blah, blah. And it can be a whole thing, and it could be great. That's genius, Dan. Okay, Alex, what's the one thing you look forward to for SummerSlam?
Did they? Oh, that's right. Styles is the U.S. champion. So I guess Styles versus Owens versus Jericho. That's what they're building up to, isn't it?
No, Shane McMahon's the guest referee. Jericho's kind of just somewhere. I expect Jericho to maybe interfere. He's got a feud with all three of them.
Here's my very late disclaimer. I did not see most of SmackDown. I am sorry.
As per the usual. But hey, if you're like Alex and you miss out on any of the big 3 shows of the week, whether it be Raw, SmackDown, or Impact, be sure to come to the Real Sport website. That's realsport101.com. Click on the wrestling section, and you can find all the recaps for all the major shows of the week written by a fantastic writer. Jaime, what is your thing for SummerSlam?
My thing for SummerSlam, I'm more leaning towards TakeOver Brooklyn 3 because I'm the resident NXT guy for Real Sport.
Okay, so we'll talk about NXT here in a minute. That wasn't the question, and that's strike 1. By the way, we have a strike system now. No, you're fine. SummerSlam, go. What's one thing you're looking forward to?
Okay, sorry, got that wrong. Maybe I'm going with the Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura because of the potential plot twist. Because remember, we haven't seen Baron Corbin this week, so maybe he will come back at SummerSlam and cash in, get his revenge on Nakamura.
It's pretty obvious that's what they're going to do. They're going to have Nakamura go over at SummerSlam over Jinder, and Corbin will come out, cash in, take the title from Nakamura. They'll have a feud.
So then is Corbin going to go over on Cena at SummerSlam?
No.
No, because it's tradition to have the...
Do you think Cena's going to win that match still?
Absolutely.
I think Cena's going out on his back because he's got to get ready to record Transformers.
It doesn't start recording till after WrestleMania. Middle of next year.
Really?
The cast has been announced, but I do believe they said something about January or February is when it's recording, and they could probably push it back till after WrestleMania so he can get his work in.
I thought that was supposed to release like June 2018.
No.
No.
I think it may be a Christmas blockbuster because, if I'm not mistaken, there's a Star Wars movie coming out right around there, and they don't want to go head-to-head with Star Wars.
Hold on, because I could have swore I just heard something the other day that Cena has a movie in production right now.
He may have another movie. I mean, it's really hard to say. But y'all are wrong, and before I tell you guys why you're wrong, I just want to point out that for the umpteenth week in a row, Jaime has brought up Baron Corbin and talked about Baron Corbin in some way, shape, or form. The man crush is very real. But y'all are wrong. And let me tell you why.
His luscious locks aren't it, isn't it, Jaime?
What locks? He's losing hair.
That's the joke.
Ah, so now we've all killed the joke today. No, y'all are wrong, and this is why. The match that for SummerSlam that I want to see, that I hate that it's going to be on the card, Sami Zayn is going to beat Mike Kanellis. It's going to happen. It's going to happen at SummerSlam. It'll be on the pre-show, probably the second show on in, and I'm guessing they're going to have to go with a 2-hour pre-show for this. But yeah, that's going to happen, and hopefully it kills the feud. They have a great entrance song, but I can't stand the Kanellis sigh. Is that right? The Kanellis sigh? That's a plot of Kanellis's, right?
Canelli?
Canelli. Is it Canelli? Or should it be Kanellis because it's Kanellis's... Yeah, it's Canelli. I'm getting tired of the Canelli, basically. Dan, you want to argue with me on this?
They're great. You're just jealous that you haven't found the greatest love.
Maria is great at being a catty heel, but she's a terrible wrestler. Mike Bennett is a merely okay wrestler. They're not great.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we're now at the halfway point of the show, which means we get to talk about ourselves. Alex, your descent into juggaloism, how's it coming?
Well, it's, I just finished the 4th album of the first 7 Joker card albums, and it's not going upwards, let me tell you that.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to be as truthful and honest as you can. Should the Insane... How do I want to word... Okay. Are the Insane Clown Posse in the future Grammy Award winners? Should they have won a Grammy in the past?
God, no. Jesus Christ, they are terrible. It is a miracle that their production work is even half as good as it is. And that is the only thing saving their act.
When the biopic comes out, Hatchet Man Reborn, and we see the tale of how Juggaloism started but when the first Faygo was cracked, till now, will you be in attendance for that movie premiere?
I suppose I kind of have to be now.
There you go.
Also, on top of that, I just did the first episode of a new show called Wrestle with the Cringe, where where me and two of my friends do MST3K style commentary over terrible wrestling shows.
Very well. So you can check that out where?
On my YouTube channel.
That will be classified as another thing that I want to watch, but probably won't get a chance to. Anyway, moving on. Jaime, what's up? What you got going on? How's the MMA training?
Still training, waiting for potential fight. But I've been focusing more on weightlifting because I don't have a fight anyway.
Yeah, you are kind of small there, bud. Do you even lift, bro?
A little.
Okay, well, anyway, anything big working on for the website?
Oh yeah, I already mentioned something related to TakeOver Brooklyn 3. I mentioned last week about the Drew McIntyre article about TakeOver Brooklyn 3 potentially being his send-off match to the main roster. So I'll have it published closer to TakeOver Brooklyn 3. I plan to write something about Johnny Gargano becoming the new People's Champ of the PG era, or something like that. And maybe another thing about someone on NXT. So keep.
Is it time for us to stop calling this the PG era and call it something else? Like,
well, I mean, it is officially the new era.
New era.
New era.
How are they getting away with that and not be infringing on New Era clothing?
That thing.
I mean, it seems like there's a copyright infringement there. Dan! What's up, Dan? How you feeling, buddy?
So I'm hanging in there.
Okay, tell us about yourself. What's going on?
I'm hoping to get out of the hospital here within the next day or two.
Do you want to tell the people why you're there, or would you rather keep them in suspense?
Let's keep them in suspense. Not much really going on. Just been watching a lot of.
Spoiler alert! It's the Ebola.
No, we can't say that.
Sports and more sports.
Okay.
Finally cracked open the laptops. As you guys can tell, my life's been really boring. I can actually kind of get back to typing today. So, I have nothing to do. So, I might be kicking out some articles here. DFS articles for football.
Well, it's about time.
I haven't done.
It's about time. But we hope the penile enlargement surgery goes well. Just letting you know, we wish you the best. Anyway, since you brought up daily fantasy, something we're all really excited about, not only just us here on this podcast, but 8 other writers on the Real Sport website. I am the commissioner of the league. I've created this league. But everybody will be competing in a Real Sport Wrestling Fantasy League. It'll be daily fantasy ideals with a weekly fantasy roster reset. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be giving you updates every week about what's going on and who's in the lead and who's winning and who's losing. Also, another thing we want to bring up. 2 weeks from today, we will be having our 2-hour SummerSlam special. Provided Dan can find his way back to his house, Jaime is not beating the crap out of somebody, and Alex still has 3 brain cells left. We're going to be doing this 2-hour special. We're going to have interviews with our guests, including Patches Jarash, our editor for Real Sport, senior editor of the entire freaking website, Gur Samuel, and maybe, just maybe, if we can pry him away, Toby Durant could be on the show as well. Also, we may be having a special guest in the next couple of weeks. If you guys are familiar with laying the wood or to Kayfabe to Care podcast. He is a buddy of mine from back home. They may be joining us as well, so stay tuned for that. Now, let's jump back into the wrestling as it happened. Last night, we saw GFW Impact. It felt a lot like episodes we've seen in the past. Am I wrong? I mean, the first 10 minutes felt like I've already seen this episode of Impact, right?
Based on what you told me, probably a good thing I didn't get Pop TV at the hospital, because I would have probably asked for more painkillers than what I was supposed to get.
I'm not going to lie, it brought on a migraine. Alex, what did you think?
It was a TNA show. I mean...
It was not a TNA show. It was a Global Force Wrestling show.
I'm sorry, their millionth name change in under a year has not stuck.
Third name change. Second name change. Second name change in under a year. You exaggerating piece of garbage. Jaime, what did you think of Impact?
Only the first match was the good match.
That's... Nah, I don't know. There was some good action. I mean... I'm just...
God, please take out that Impact Grand Championship off TV. I hate that concept.
I'm so glad you brought it up, because one of the few things, like, I don't know... Okay. My hatred for the character of Bruce Pritchard is at an all-time high. I mean, I can't stand the guy. You're standing next to Trevor Lee for a good minute and a half while Sanjay Dutt is in the ring talking. Yet instead of doing the right thing by merely extending your left arm and grabbing the belt and giving it back to Sanjay and ending this whole terrible idea for a feud, you let it continue. Not only do you let it continue, you're more worried about kicking Sanjay Dutt out of the arena than you are with the theft and the thief that is literally within arm's reach of you, that you've had personal conversations with, both on and off camera, that you can stop. Not to mention, Bruce Pritchard, with his scoring of the Grand Championship match, just blew my freaking mind. I'm glad it didn't end in a draw, but Jesus, I mean, I don't like him. Am I wrong there? Dan, tell me. Am I wrong? I have reason to hate Bruce Pritchard, right?
No, you can't hate Bruce Pritchard, and you know why.
Well, of course I know why, but why don't you tell the people why I can't hate Bruce Pritchard?
I can't disclose that information.
Way to keep the audience in suspense there, Dan. It's good to see you're growing as a podcaster. Alex, do I have reason to hate Bruce Pritchard?
As a character or as a person?
Yes.
No, you're getting worked, you stupid, filthy mark.
Very well. Jaime, you're the voice of reason on this podcast. Is this good for the GFW? Is this good for Impact to have Bruce Pritchard doing what he does?
We already have seen numerous times the typical heel of authority figure, so it's kind of not original anymore.
Okay, fair enough. Now, there's another thing we got to talk about when it comes to Impact, and that's Grado. Dan, I know you're a Grado fanboy. He's tried to propose to Laurel Van Ness for like 3 weeks now, and Congo Kong just seems to get angry about it. Are we headed toward a terrible, god-awful, just so bad match between Congo Kong with Laurel Van Ness and Grado with Joseph Park? And if Grado wins, he gets to marry LVN. Is that where we're headed, Dan?
This sounds like such a cluster that I can't wait to watch it.
It's terrible, though.
Oh, it sounds terrible. It's gonna be terrible, but I can't wait to watch it.
I mean, Congo Kong legit looks like he could murder somebody. And Grado...
Congo Kong looks like a baby in a diaper.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Which says all kinds of. Well, I can't say that because Laura Van Ness is already crazy. Is that where we're going to be headed, though?
Yeah.
That's the logical wrestling match that we're going to see at somewhere like Destination X, right?
That's solid booking.
Said Vince Russo.
Hey, at least. Now, hold on. You brought up a good point. Vince Russo. I'm tracking with you, Alex. It's going to be marriage license on a pole match.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yes. Marriage license on a pole match. And just thinking outside the box here, if Grado loses, you have people dressed as INS agents around the ring in a lumberjack-style match. He loses, he gets carted away INS style and deported.
You know what? I'm down. This is so stupid, I would watch the hell out of it. I would pay full money for that pay-per-view.
Except it's being given away on Pop TV the Thursday before SummerSlam. That's Destination X.
Well, I never said TNA had good management decisions.
Actually, if you think about it, it's brilliant. It makes sense for their storylines to be coming to a logical conclusion right around that time. They're giving away a huge show on free TV on a night that they're running unopposed by football and the WWE. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Is Grado versus Congo Kong in a Laurel Van Ness on a pole lumberjack match really going to pop ratings that much? On
No.
a channel barely anyone gets.
But I think Evan Bourne versus Bobby Lashley might.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
I mean, that's the main event.
Again, a pothead who got kicked out of the WWE, a decade ago, and...
Be more specific. Which one is that?
Evan Bourne.
Are you sure it wasn't the other one? I've heard rumors that Bobby Lashley liked to hang out with Mary Jane. I could be wrong. It could be different drugs he was popped for.
He is in Bellator, and we know how their drug testing goes, so...
Yeah, WADA's not exactly watching them very hardcore. Maybe that's where we'll see Brock Lesnar. Maybe he'll go to Bellator, and then go to TNA, or GFW, excuse me. And maybe we can just have Brock Lesnar just,
You know what? That would actually be awesome. I'm down for Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley.
Why? Bobby Lashley won't be the champion. It's Brock Lesnar versus Evan Bourne.
Oh, good God.
And we could see another advocate for Brock Lesnar in the GFW, and you know who it could be? You know who it could be?
Bruce Pritchard?
No.
No.
Dutch Mantel. We the people.
What are you asking for? Jack Swagger versus Brock Lesnar?
That'd be good. Ooh, that'd be so good. Full Metal Mayhem, yes. Book this, TNA, GFW, whatever, Anthem, whatever you want to call yourself. This needs to happen. Anyway, let's move on. Eli Drake. Where are they going with Eli Drake? Jaime, he's your guy. He's your guy.
Yeah.
Where are they going with him? He was supposed to have a match, and then Congo Kong went crazy. Where does he go from now? Does he actually get to team with Chris Adonis? Maybe go up against LAX for the tag team titles? Or is he just kind of stuck in that mid-card kind of thing?
It's pretty much stuck in that mid-card kind of thing. It's a product of bad booking. You see, when did we even last hear his voice? We heard his voice, but it isn't the usual Eli Drake that we usually see on The Fact of Life. Yeah,
that's true. He hasn't had the microphone in what seems like ever. I think he may be running his course in the GFW. Unless he gets a push into the main event, because I don't think he's going to be EC3 for the Impact Grand Championship. He'll just be wasting his time there. He's too big to go in the X division. I don't think they're ever going to take the titles off of LAX because of what LAX means to the GFW. So guys like Adonis and Drake, they're kind of stuck in the middle there. Am I wrong there, Alex? Do you see it the same way?
Yes. There's an element to that, but there's also an element of Eli Drake being a Billy Corgan creation and GFW wanting to cleanse themselves of anything having to do with Billy Corgan.
I still don't believe that.
Okay, so how do you explain literally everything Billy Corgan did in TNA getting purged from Impact as it stands?
Hatred of Jeff Jarrett caused a bunch of people not to resign. I don't think it's so much of Impact not wanting Billy Corgan stuff as the Impact roster not wanting to work with Jeff Jarrett.
I might accept that if it wasn't for the fact that every single one of them, Drew Galloway, the Hardys, Maya Yim, aka Jade, they're all saying Anthem /GFW /Jeff Jarrett /whoever were completely unprofessional, took weeks getting to them, wanted to underpay them.
Truly, we'll never know, because the people that know aren't going to tell the truth, and the people that don't know are going to make up stories saying they do. I don't know what's going on. Dan, do you have an opinion on this?
I know with some of the bigger stars out there, Jeff Jarrett has worked into a lot of their contracts that any independent booking they get, GFW gets a percentage of their pay that they get from that booking. Any merch that they sell, GFW gets a percentage of that. That's part of the reason why a lot of independent stars didn't want to go back. Along with that, one of the reasons why we won't see the titles come off of LAX is because of Conan. He has such ties in the Mexican wrestling that you're not going to see. They're going to want to get stars from down there. Stars like they're going to want to get stars from down there. That if Lucha Underground is going to completely shut down after the season finishes running, they're going to try to make that push for those guys. And Conan has those ties. Look at the Rey Mysterio situation right now, for example. WWE doesn't even want to deal with Conan, and Conan's tied tightly with GFW. So,
well, that's true. Now, I saw something else, too. If you have seen anything that GFW has put out in the last, I don't know, year, you've seen that they have a show coming up in a minor league baseball stadium in New York, Staten Island or something. I saw that picture change. Somebody was added to it. Did anybody else see who was added to it?
A former John Morrison, I believe, is who you're referencing.
Yes, he is going to go by John Hennigan, or whatever his real last name is. He's still got...
I believe his fiance's on there too, right, Taya?
Yes.
Taya Valkyrie, yes.
Yep. So, how long until we see Johnny Mundo or John Morrison or John Hennigan on Impact next taping, right? Will he debut at Destination X?
Not until his contract with Lucha Underground is up.
Not until Lucha Underground's finished airing in 90 days after that.
Oh, so he can... So, basically...
He cannot appear on American TV while Lucha Underground is still airing.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the 90-day no-compete clause after that.
So, did his contract just expire?
He's just working some untelevised shows because he can do that.
Lucha Underground records everything in advance and they show it all later. They sort of do it the same way GFW does. They're not live.
No, I get that. Was he... What was the situation of him leaving Lucha Underground? Was it...
I believe it had more to do with AAA, and AAA screwing Kaya out of the title.
Okay, no, what I'm asking is, was it just his contract was over? Did he get fired? Did he quit? What was the situation there?
Well, we don't really know for sure at the moment, but because he quit AAA so violently, or vitriolically, it's safe to assume he quit Lucha Underground as well.
Learn something new every day. Okay, one last thing I want to talk about. I guess two more things. Ethan Carter III, somebody finally beat Moose for the Grand Championship, and it was my guy EC3. Anybody else excited for this? Because let me tell you, the promo that he cut when he was talking to the title belt like he was picking it up in a bar, like it was a cheap floozy, I loved. Anybody else feel the same way? The silence tells me no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, and then one last one. We finally got a new member of LAX. And it was low-key.
It was stupid.
It was genius. Low-key is perfect.
How is that? Is Loki even Latino?
Yeah, he is.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
I assumed he was Asian.
Why?
The more I know.
Now who's racist?
I guess I am.
Why would you assume he was Asian?
Because his name is Low-Key. Alright, fine, whatever, I'm stupid. I'm racist, whatever.
I mean, I can get even more racist explaining it, but, I mean, what do Mexicans drive? Low riders. Mexicans are known for being... Some Mexicans deal in drugs. Drugs are often mentioned in keys. Low key.
Oh! That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Alright, so you just topped him. You just topped him just by describing it like that. So,
Yeah.
Ed, you won.
Well, you see, I had to explain it in terms that Alex would understand. You know, I personally, and I've said this on many occasions, the people that record this podcast do not necessarily share the same beliefs and well-beings of the people that portray the characters. Basically, we're not the same people on this podcast that we are out in real life or the people that write for the website. Real Sport does not share our ideals or opinions, and they do not condone anything that we say and or do. There's your disclaimer. Okay.
Bill Cosby didn't do nothing wrong.
We also want to point out that Alex is in no way, shape, or form affiliated with the Real Sport website. He is an independent contractor that works for free for this podcast. Anything else you'd like to get off your chest while I'm backpedaling?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Chris Brown didn't beat Rihanna.
Now you've crossed the line. Now you've crossed the line. Oh, man. We are about at our 1 hour mark, and that is time for us to say sayonara. But before we do, we're going to give you ways to follow us and reiterate what we got coming up for you through the Real Sport website. Alex, where can people find you on Twitter, YouTube, or whatever the hell they want to?
Find me on Twitter at officialunfunny, YouTube is the Unfunny Comedian, Twitch, where I stream my new Wrestle with the Cringe show, is Twitch/officialunfunny, I believe, or Unfunny Official, one of the two.
Okay, now, where can they find you on Grindr, or is it, can they find you on there?
Well, if you're within a 10-mile vicinity, you can find me on Grindr, but don't message me.
There you go. So be sure to look out for him there. Okay? Hi, May. Where can the people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, at @TheGreatJLA. My work's at the Real Sport website. I do the previews for all the WWE shows as well as the recaps for NXT and 205 Live, so keep visiting the site, especially the wrestling section. And the baseball section for Ed, which he'll talk about later.
Very well. All right, Danny. What's up?
You guys can find me at Real D Durrett on Twitter. You can find me at D Durrett on Instagram. I probably won't accept you on Instagram, though. Especially if your name's Ed Rapine.
That's not a PG-13 rated Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. You will see Bush.
He was one of my favorite presidents.
He was better than Donald Trump, at least.
All right, Dan, where can they find you on the website?
You guys can find me in MLB, the wrestling section. You can start to find me in the NFL section, And you guys can always find me on the Sports du Jour podcast.
That's right. That records tomorrow. It'll be the football preview show where we are going to name 6 division winners in the NFL and the Big 5 conference winners and maybe some even next 5 conference winners as well. Joining us on that podcast will be myself, Dan if he feels up for it, the Rob Parks Jr., and Miles Stedman live from Australia. Also, we may or may not be able to get Alex Freeman, a new editor for the NFL section. So stay tuned for that. That should be up on SoundCloud and on YouTube either Saturday night or Sunday morning. You can find me, Ed Burkeen, at CLANDCS. That's at CLANDCS on Twitter. You can also find me in several different sections of the Real Sport website: hockey, football, baseball, college football, wrestling, and anything else I'm trying to get a hold of. We'll see. Boredom is a very real thing. But it's time for us to call it quits for this episode. We'd like to thank you all for listening. And, if you don't like what you hear, or you're not down with us, Jaime has 2 words for you.
Still keep listening.